Something that's taken for granted these days in Formula One is the safety involved in the fuel tanks. This was a massive cause of death and serious injury in the 1960s and 70s, but nowadays fuel tank ruptures and fires with Formula One cars are pretty much unheard of. So how did we get to this point? Well, I'm going to take you through the history of fuel tanks in F1 here on this video for the F1 Chronicle.com. F1 racing is renowned for its high speed and cutting edge technology, but behind the scenes safety is paramount. One of the critical areas of focus is the fuel tank, which has evolved significantly over the years to ensure the utmost protection for the drivers. Modern F1 fuel tanks are constructed from highly durable materials like Kevlar and are designed as a single rubber bladder to meet stringent FIA safety regulations. By that it means that it's not going to leak at all. It's going to be controlled. It's going to be controlled even in the force of an impact. These tanks have advanced safety features including multiple fuel flow meters and specialized safety data sheets for each type of fuel to minimize the risk of fire and ensure the optimal performance under extreme conditions of racing. Unfortunately, the road to this safety milestone in F1 is paved with several lost lives due to ignition from fuel tank ruptures. Drivers lost to fatal vehicle crashes include such beloved names as Lorenzo Bandini, Roger Williamson, Stuart Lewis Evans and Peter Courage. Other greats like Niki Lauda and Clay Regazzoni would have lost their lives during fuel tank rupture incidents without the intervention of fellow competitors and safety marshals. Even today, Sir Jackie Stewart recounts with dread the feeling of being trapped in his BRM and soaked in fuel after a nasty crash. A situation so precarious that the whole scene could have gone up in flames in any second. Yeah, that was at Spa, I believe, and I can't imagine the fear. He was literally filled in the cockpit with fuel and it could have just gone, and then he'd have been dead probably. Thankfully though, it didn't happen and he lived, so he's still alive today, Sir Jackie, one of the true greats. Another development besides fuel bags that saved lives on the track were fireproof race suits. Before using fireproof suits was the norm, F1 drivers frequently used to wear safety harnesses for fear of being trapped in their vehicle in the event of a fire. Vehicular design advancements that assured fire fears began with McLaren's introduction of the 1981 MP4, which used carbon fiber monocoque technology with tanks placed inside the tub to ensure that they remained intact. Other teams followed suit shortly after. Yeah, I remember John Watson having a pretty severe crash at Monza it would have been 1981 going off of that, wouldn't it? Yes, it must have been. And yeah, if he was in the older kind of I think it was aluminium back then before carbon fiber. If he was in that sort of car, he might well have died or been seriously injured, but as he was absolutely fine. The safety of fuel tanks in F1 is governed by stringent regulations set by the FIA. These regulations are designed to ensure that fuel tanks can withstand the extreme conditions of high-speed racing and potential crash impacts. According to the FIA's technical regs, all F1 fuel tanks must be constructed as a single rubber bladder, which is then housed within a strong composite structure to provide additional protection. The FIA mandates that these fuel tanks undergo rigorous crash testing to simulate various impact scenarios. This includes tests for puncture resistance, ensuring the tank can withstand sharp objects and high pressure impacts without leaking the fuel. Additionally, the tanks must be fire resistant, capable of withstanding high temperatures without ignition, and that's all crucial for driver safety in the event of an accident. Recent updates to the regulation have also forced the integration of fuel tanks within the car's monocoque structure. This design reduces the risk of rupture during a crash and also helps maintain the car's structural integrity. The placement and securing of the fuel tank are checked to comply with these standards. The FIA requires the use of multiple fuel flow meters to monitor the amount of fuel being used to detect any anomalies that might indicate a leak or another issue. These meters are part of a broader set of safety protocols that include the use of non-return valves and anti-surge baffles, which prevent fuel from moving around excessively within the tank during high-speed movements. And that is all we have time for here. There's a huge article over on the F1Chronicle.com if you guys want to check it out. I will put the link in the description. If you're on YouTube, if you're on MSN, just look up the website and search for Fuel Tank Safety Explained. You'll find it on there. And of course, if you want to see more questions answered, more things explained, suggest something to us in the comments below, and of course keep it subscribed here to the F1Chronicle.com to see much more content just like this. Like, share, ring the bell and everything else as well to see much more content just like this.